Alright guys, so in today's job, we have a pool deck micro channel drain that literally drains to nowhere. So as you can see right here, it doesn't exit on this side of the pool deck. It just stops right up against the pool screen. And then half of the channel drain is actually blocked by concrete where it connects into the other half. As you can see right here, it's a good 1.5 foot piece of concrete that blocks the two drains. And I don't really understand why it was done like that. And then the other thing we have here is this channel drain is completely destroyed at the end. And if we lift up this makeshift grate where the sump pump is kept, you can see that where it's supposed to drain in is blocked by some wood and some concrete. So I do not understand what they were thinking when they did this design, but we are here to rectify this problem, and we're going to get this thing draining properly. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is marking off my cut right here, and I'm going to be using a grinder to make the incision, and then I'm going to be using a rotary chisel to chisel it out. So as you can see, I'm using the grinder here to make the first cut, and that gives me a straight line. So then when I use the rotary chisel, it will keep that straight line and it'll have a good clean indent and be able to pull that concrete out. Now, while you are making these cuts, it's good to keep some water on hand. That's why I have a cup right there with a little bit of water in it. That way, when it starts getting a little bit too dusty, I can start dumping the water down onto the cut. And it also helps keep the heat down on the grinding wheel, because when you're cutting, it's a lot of friction. So it's going to heat things up a bit, but that water should help. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll get the rotary chisel out now. And before you insert your chisel bit into the tool, you want to go ahead and use some grease on the end of it, and you put it in all the grooves. That way, when it's going back and forth, it doesn't cause a lot of friction. It helps reduce that so you don't damage the tool. Now we're going to go ahead and use the rotary chisel to bust this concrete out, and you just apply pressure while pulling the trigger, and it basically does the work for you. It just chips away and cracks away at the concrete, basically turning it into chunks and dust. And then I'll just go ahead and I'll clean out the concrete by hand, get that whole entire trench cleaned out and prepped up, and we should be ready to go. Now there's still concrete at the bottom of this trench, so I'm not going to worry about putting any kind of plastic or anything like that in there. I'm just going to pull the busted pieces out. So now we're going to go ahead and solve the problem where this channel drain dumps into this sump pump basin. So the first thing I did was I got rid of the wood. For whatever reason, they had some wood there. I got rid of that, and I'm using the rotary chisel to go ahead and groove out a section in the concrete. That way the water has a clean path of travel through that groove right into the sump pump basin, so we don't leave any water behind in that micro channel drain. So as you can see here, how I've grooved the concrete out, that way the water can take the path of least resistance and be able to make its way down into the sump pump basin. All right, now the next step is going to be getting this busted piece of micro channel drain out of here. Now I went ahead and I used a pry bar, and I also used some tin snips along with a electric cutter to be able to cut these pieces and pry them out of here. Now from the video it's going to look really easy, but I'm telling you right now, this took me a little over an hour to do, and as you can see, my shirt, I'm just drenched in sweat working on this. Actually, more than just my shirt, I'm drenched in sweat completely, but I finally managed to get all that plastic out. So now we have a good opening. Now the next step is we're going to be inserting our jetter down this micro channel drain. We're going to use our jetter to go ahead and break up any debris and dirt and sediment and anything else that's clogged in the pipe. That jetter is going to really break that stuff down, and then we're going to use a hose to go ahead and just flush it all completely out until it's nice and clean and it's flowing well. Now the way this jetter works is it's hooked up to a pressure washer, and as the pressure washer gun trigger is being pulled, you have 3 little holes in the back of the nozzle and you have one hole in the front of the nozzle. So the 3 holes in the back shoot water out that help push the jetter forward, and the hole in the front of the nozzle shoots water forward to help break up debris in the front so it can continue moving itself forward. So it essentially pulls itself while it's running. So now we went ahead and we put the hose in the first section of channel drain and we're flushing it out real good. And I actually pull a couple small chunks of concrete out of there that must have been left over from when they poured the pool deck. So we get all that out of there. It's going to help things flow a lot better. And now we have the hose at the very end of the channel drain, allowing it to flow through the entire system. And you can see the water going straight through that area of concrete that we cut out. So now there's nothing in the way of it. So the entire micro drain flows properly. Now, as we're flushing this drain out, you're going to be able to see the pump kick on as the sump pump basin fills with water. Now, the float on the pump is going to have to raise probably a good 6 to 8 inches before the pump actually kicks on. So you can see that float going up here, and now in a minute, the pump's going to kick on and the water in the basin is going to start going down as the pump sends it through the line around the house to the front of the house, and it discharges in the front of the home. Now you can see the water slowly starting to go down. So we actually didn't set this sump pump up. This was an existing sump pump that was set up by another vendor. They did set it up correctly. They put a check valve, and they also used a repair cup link. That way it could be unscrewed from that point and taken in and out for service or maintenance, or to replace the pump if needed. They could have used a union fitting, which actually would have been better than a repair cup link fitting, but the other one works fine, so it's not a big deal. They also used a Liberty pump, which is good because those are pretty high quality pumps and they last a long time and they hold up. So we got lucky, and the homeowner actually had a piece of extra micro channel drain grate laying on the side of the home. That way we didn't have to order a new piece from online and wait for it to come in, because you can't find this stuff in the big box stores. The only place to find it is online. So that was pretty convenient. So we went ahead and we just cut that piece down to size to go ahead and put it over the gaps of the areas that we repaired and we worked on. That way it gives it a more clean cut finished look. All right, so I think that just about does it for this job. The very last thing we're going to go ahead and do is I'm vacuuming out the sump pump basin with a shop vac to make sure that I get any little rocks or stones and sediment and debris and dirt out of there before we call it a day on this job and finish it up. And I actually did go back and I replaced that makeshift metal grate with a more solid piece of PVC board. That way the homeowner could go ahead and set like a potted plant or something of that nature on top of it without fear of it bending in or falling in. So that made the look of it a lot better. Now, if you live in the Tampa Bay area or surrounding counties and you're experiencing rainwater intrusion into your home or a flooded and soggy yard, or if you just have some drains that need to be cleared out of sediment and debris, give us a call. We can come out and perform all those tasks and solve rainwater drainage issues that you're experiencing. We also provide camera snake services. So if for whatever reason you need to have your sewers inspected with a camera, we can also do that as well. And please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, helps support us. We're a small business when we're trying to grow and solve people's problems. That's what we're all about. And until next time, this is Aero General Services signing off.